Welcome to Soulprism podcast, where we share bite-sized nuggets of wisdom for your body, mind, and soul to serve you, the emerging soulpreneur. My name is Tammy Mack, and I'm really excited about today's show because I'm interviewing Megan, who is a nomad living full-time in a camper van with her partner, Kevin, and their dog, Winston. For over a year now, they've been traveling North America, inspiring others to get outdoors and take the road less traveled. You can follow them on Instagram at Kev and Meg. Super excited about this. Did I get the whole thing?
Yeah.
Megan, she is an integrated wellness and life coach using tools, techniques, and action plans, and she helps clients create meaningful change in their lives. She helps clients gain freedom from the past and overcome harmful habits, reprogram patterns that block fulfillment. I really love that so much because that is part of what I do too. We probably do it in very different ways, which I love that there's so many different ways that we get to serve our soulmate clients. So Megan, where are you right now?
I am in Banff, Alberta, Canada, and I'm currently in my camper van as we record this.
That's so amazing. Last week, I was going for a spirit walk and I was really connecting to some past energy in 2019, 2020, when I was like fully consumed in van life. Like I was watching every video on van life. And then who do I meet? I see this beautiful van in my park and I had to go up and talk to them. And you were so great, gracious and sharing your van for a moment, letting me see your van and your process. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is a synchronicity. I have to have you on the show. I have to, really share that we get to live a life however it is that we envision it to be. Did you ever picture that this would be your life?
Oh, that's actually quite funny. I first traveled in a camper van. My friend and I, we visited Iceland and we spent our time there traveling in a camper van, and I absolutely fell in love. Now, this was probably in 2017. And then when I got home, I was joking about it all the time with my partner about we should just sell everything and live in a van and travel. And it was just something that we joked about. And then it became a reality shortly after the pandemic. So I feel deep in my soul that this is where I was meant to be eventually. It just took some time to get here.
That's so beautiful. Iceland is definitely on my bucket list. It's
Absolutely
definitely
beautiful. Yeah.
yes, so beautiful. So were you a life coach before van life, or did it kind of come together?
Yeah, so that came after van life. So before life coaching, I was working in corporate retail. I've worked in corporate retail my entire career, so probably 12 plus years now. And recently left that job in February. But as we were going down this path of starting to plan for our van and, getting ready to get on the road, I started to think of other things that I wanted to do and trying to be really connected to my purpose, trying to find that purpose. And life coaching kind of came up in some therapy sessions, and it was something that I started to really dive into and learn more about. And then it just clicked. I'm like, this is it. This is what I'm meant to do. This is my purpose. I want to help people. And so it did come after the van life. But now we're doing both.
That's so beautiful. I really see this emergence with soulpreneurs where we're so tired, we're so burnt out from that corporate life, from that 9 to 5, or trying to fit into society where we just don't really fit into anymore. I don't know if this resonates with you, but it resonates with me. I just don't really fit in those boxes anymore, and so we create our life. We create what it is that we truly want to to be in the world and how it is that we get to serve in the world. So I love
Mm-hmm.
that after, your time in corporate, you created your own way and, living in a van and serving from wherever it is that you are. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And it really did, I guess I should say, it was something that I know needed to happen, meaning I had felt that there was something else for me for a very, very, very long time. I was actually diagnosed with breast cancer when I was 26 years old, and that was a big turning point in my life. And I felt that I was kind of put in that situation to then create something bigger. And that is also actually where the life coaching comes in, because my ultimate goal is I want to help women who are impacted by breast cancer, whether they're currently, in treatment or they're coming out of treatment. Like, I know how important that was for me in my journey, especially post treatment, post cancer life, trying to find your new normal. And I want to help other women, come through that very dark place and trying to find their new path.
That's so beautiful. One of my favorite sayings is a kick in the ass is still a step forward. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes transformation comes through crisis. For many of us, it is until we come into crisis that we actually make the changes and really, from the inside out, make those life changes so that we can live a longer, more fulfilling life.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, I'm so curious. Uh, where do we begin?
Yeah.
So, as a breast cancer survivor, how is it that you find your clients? Is there protocols that you have to go through? I'm curious as to how it is that you connect to your clients.
Yeah. So right now I'm really focusing, because I want to, my main goal is to help women who have been impacted by breast cancer. So right now it's all about networking with my, previous doctors, all my doctors, my nurse navigators to my oncologist to, everyone in between, anyone that I've seen along these last 8 or 9 years, therapists, other support groups that I've been part of. So it's really just getting myself out there and reconnecting with these people that I have already have connections with. And then aside from that, there's also, so I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, but there is a nonprofit organization called Play for Pink, and they actually raise funds for breast cancer research. And they do events all across the United States, but there is one that's going to be happening in Milwaukee in October. And, just getting in part with those organizations and getting my story out there and, finding people who also have similar stories or are going through similar things. So I'm part of that. And then I'm also, through my the school that I got certified through, we're actually providing free life coaching and somatic care um, therapy to residents that have been impacted by the wildfires in Maui. So we just kicked it off within the last week or two. So I'm going to be also playing in that. I know those are not people, and they might be impacted by breast cancer, but it's still a traumatic event that they've gone through. And yeah, so also we'll be helping the residents of Maui.
Oh, that is so beautiful here. That's such a beautiful contribution. And I just find that the world has opened up so much more actually since 2020 that we
Mhm.
really are able to have a global impact wherever we are, whoever we are, whatever background we have. We all are worthy to serve. We all have something to share, and there's so much more global influence that we get to play a part in with the world opening up as it is right now. I find that anyway.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah, I was, when this opportunity came along, I was ecstatic about it. The fact that we can help people that are thousands of miles away, virtually, and give them the one-on-one coaching that they are probably looking for, and hopefully help them, through their time.
So I asked you to download your human design chart. You
Yeah,
never have heard of human design before.
no.
And I'm curious. I didn't really ask before, but I'm curious. When you first saw your chart, what were your first thoughts?
So if I remember correctly, I think it said I was an accelerator. What was it? Um, well, I don't have it in front of me what it was, but I actually was hoping that, you could maybe, I know you were able to look at my chart, but maybe give me a little bit of an insight into what it means. Um, so let me back up a little bit. So I actually had a birth chart reading a couple months ago, and if this is similar to that, I was in awe, like just how spot on my birth chart was, just the type of person I am and things that I'm going through. And one of the things that was very prevalent in my birth chart was leadership. And that's always something that, I've been that I've worked towards, that I strive to be a good leader, a good mentor, a good coach. So I was very excited to see that in my birth chart, but I'm not really sure how to read this chart. So, if it's anything that's similar to that, I'm sure I would probably be just as amazed.
All right. So, Megan, this is your human design chart. I know that it looks super complicated when you first look
Mm-hmm.
at it. And we're just going to go through a couple of the main things. I know that
Okay.
you just recently had your natal chart done. And so I'm going to tie in some of that natal chart information that you got into the human design as well. So, Megan, your profile line is a 2-5. And in traditional human design, it is the hermit heretic. And to me, that language is like, bleh, right? Like, who wants to be called a hermit or a heretic? So the language that I use is very different. It's quite feminine. It uses your imagination. And so the line two, I call the creative muse because she is someone who loves to be out in nature. She really loves her alone time. And in fact, she really needs it because she really loves to really deeply when she dives in deep into anything that she is interested at that time. And then when she is like, in her zone of genius, because the creative muse is a genius in her own right, she's just not aware of it. She gets called out to share whatever it is that she's currently, really encompassing her life in. The line five, I call the queen. It's the queen architect because sometimes you may get projected on. People may see a certain side of you, whether it is the true you or the perception that they have of you. And so as the queen, they have to, really come into their own power and really exude their own individuality so that they're not projected on and they stand in their power. The queen loves to share really practical information and direction to others. So this is really great as a life coach because you've been there, right? Like you've been
Mm-hmm.
there, and so you get to share that with others, from the ground up. You really get to share that knowledge, that wisdom that you went through, and share it with your tribe.
Mm-hmm.
You're the right angle cross of penetration. And we're going to get into that in just a moment. But we're going to talk about being a peer generator and what that really means. So there's 5 different energy types in human design. Generators make up about 35% of the population, and really, this is a generator world. 70% of the population are generators, whether they're a generator or a manifesting generator. But as a peer generator, the way that you make decisions is through your sacral. And do you know where your sacral is?
I'm gonna guess the gut.
Yes. So you make your decisions from your gut. And really
Mm-hmm.
what it is, it's a or a ha ha, right? And so it really is stimulating that vagal nerve to your gut to get the right, the right answer, your right choice. And so when your partner asks you yes or no questions, you can really sink into your gut knowing, really sink into your sacral, and allow it to answer you. You can do the lean test, the yes or no, but really, stimulating that vagal nerve to get that
Mm,
connection, because we're all so conditioned to make decisions from our minds. But
mhm,
that is not that is not the best way, because when you make decisions from the mind, you're always searching for certainty. And when you're really connected to your soul and you're really connected to flow, you really want to connect to the way that you are designed to make decisions, not from past experiences, not
mhm,
from tried and true all the time, but really what is true for you. And so your sacral is going to be where it is that you are going to make those decisions. And I'm curious, how is it that you generally make your decisions?
ah, I was actually, as you're talking about that, I was trying to think of that exact same question, like kind of work through that. I do think a lot of my decisions do come from the gut. I will say, and I don't know if this will be in this chart at all, but I also, what's the word that I'm looking for? I make decisions really fast. Maybe that's, it could be right or wrong, but I kind of like am quick to make a decision instead of like sitting on it and thinking about it, whether I'm shopping or like even this van. Like it wasn't even a question. I was like, yes, let's do it. Like this is what we should be doing. And so I don't know if that quick response is coming from the gut. Um, I don't know.
So interesting enough, we're going to get into that. You're a split definition. And a split definition means that when we look at your chart, we have a small split. We see that there's an energy split between your spleen, your heart, and your throat.
Hmm.
And then we have another split between your sacral and your root. And we see your root is quite lit up. Now, the spleen is generally, I'm splenic, for instance. This is how I make my decisions. And we make our decisions in the moment, in the now. It's an awareness. It's either connected to our well being, our sense of safety and security, or what is healthy for us at this time in this moment. And so it really makes sense that you do make your decisions from your spleen at times, because that is almost like a one layer of your body, right? Spleen
Hmm.
connected to your heart, connected to your throat. And then we also have that second place where you, like I said, your root chakra is really lit up, right? It has lots of gates lit up next to your sacral. And so even though your sacral is how you are designed to make decisions, your sacral isn't necessarily, it is in the moment. It's like, does this feel good to me right now? I love that you said that, you don't sit on things because you are not emotionally defined, right? You're an empath. And so you don't need time necessarily to always make your decisions. It really is listening to yourself. But there is some time that is needed, or connection from another person that is going to help that split. So say if your partner has any of these gates right here, then they would help, being together, that bioelectric feedback would really help you connect to that a lot faster. Does that make
Hmm.
sense?
Yeah, yeah. I love
Awesome.
this.
Yeah, I know, so fascinating, right?
It's very interesting.
So you're right. So your incarnation cross is, why is it that you have incarnated at this time? This is your soul purpose and this is your life purpose. And you are the right angle cross of penetration. So you are very, very intuitive. In fact, you are intuitive, connected to your heart and connected to divine timing. There's a lot of an intuition with you. When we look at your sun gate, for instance, it's in the gate 51.2. 51 is like lightning, it's like thunder, it's initiating and awakening, right? Like this awakening can come from crisis. In fact, it came from crisis in your own life, but also
Mhm.
because the center is open and undefined, the crisis is going to come from other people as well, because that energy is going to come from others. What's really
Mhm.
fascinating is that it's in point 2, so it's going to be quite intimate, right? It's going to be on that one-on-one. It's in Aries, which is the first zodiac sign of the zodiac wheel. So it's very, innocent. It's very youthful. There's lots of fire there, right? There's lots of
Mhm.
fire there. And it's in your ninth house of spirituality, of, like achieving more, wanting to achieve more. So this is perhaps you wanting to go first and in reaching high, right? Really wanting those to reach those high potentials. And so it's really beautiful when you say bring it into your life, but you can also bring it into your marketing and the way that you share your message through the Sun Gate, because everything in life filters through that one sign, right? That one gate, and then it
Mhm.
filters into the rest of the chart. So what really grounds you is your intuition. It's gate 57 out of the spleen. Actually, and let's do this real quick here. So so you're assertive, freedom loving, you have a strong need for
Mhm.
independence and may need to display self-concern assertively. You inspire others with your bravery and ability to take action, right? Like just
Mhm.
beautiful. Of course, ninth house is also really connected to traveling, higher learning, and philosophy, which is, something sounds like that you're kind of interested in as well. What's going to ground you, as I said, is connecting to your intuition. However it is that you connect to your intuition, because you intuitively know, right? And so what's fascinating is that it's in Libra, so really having that balance and that relationship of the third house, which is connected to, the lower mind, like what is your mind thinking? And so really, this is great for writing things down. I hope that you have a journal, some sort of
Mhm.
a journal process, right? Really
Yep.
writing your stuff down, really writing all your intuition down is really going to connect you more into that initiating action. So that's kind of like your soul purpose and
Mhm.
the natal chart that you were talking about. But if we go into the body, your body is really wanting to, what makes you healthy is really connecting with others, really collaborating, and as you said, networking with others is really going to really feed your soul and feed your body in that way. Capricorns really like systems. They really like tried and true. They can be quite traditional at times, but there's also this beautiful thing with Capricorns is that because they are the like the workhorse, right? Like they're the goat. They're like the person that is going to go the distance, that is going to really command respect from others. And this is really, it being in your fourth house, this is really connected to what makes you feel safe, what makes you feel like home. So, home is wherever you hang your hat. Home can be
Mhm.
anywhere, wherever you feel good in your body and in your life. And so, this is really connected to families as well. And then, when we talk about your life purpose is in 53.5, and this is in Cancer. So once again, this is emotional energy. This is healing energy. And it's connected to your 10th house of business, of leadership, of
Mhm.
legacy. And this once again is connected to beginnings, right? Beginnings. And in fact, when I'm looking at your chart, you have both, you're like a bookend of beginnings and endings, and really knowing that there is no beginning, there is no ending. It is a spiral, it's an evolution.
Mhm.
You're always growing. And so really understanding, you know, and speaking and sharing your journey of the spiral. And I'm curious how that feels to you.
Yeah, I honestly, everything you're saying feels like I feel like you're in my head right now, like in my soul. Like you're just like, it's like we don't know each other, but you know me on my deepest level just by reading this chart. And I just think that's really cool. And, you know, a lot of what you're saying here just resonates with me and just my day to day and how I think about things and how I make decisions and how I go about life and things that are important to me. And it's just so fascinating. I love this.
Curious, like, how does that feel to you?
Well, when you were talking about, you know, the screen versus the sponge, I will say that I just had a thought and now I lost it.
Open head and ajna, that's literally what it feels like.
Is that it?
That's
I'm like,
yeah.
where'd it go? My thought just like was there and then it just left me.
Yeah.
It'll come back. It'll come back to me. I'll be like, oh, there it is. It'll come back. It'll come back. Just give me a minute.
Yeah, so that was just like a very little bit of your human design chart that I just wanted to
Yeah.
share because it does bring us a lot of clarity. I find with human design, it really brings us closer to our own sense of self. And for many people, like you said, like I felt so seen. I felt like, you know, you're really in my head. That's the beauty of human design. And me be, you know, I am an intuitive, and so really diving into the nuances of the chart.
hmm It came back to me. So what I was going to say was since I was diagnosed with breast cancer, I've really been on this like spiritual journey, like trying to figure out what that means to me. And I will say, like you said, you're constantly trying to look for inspiration. And that is something that I'm always doing. And I love that you said really just look within versus looking outward, because that is what I've been doing is what are other people doing, has in like trying that. And you know, yes, it's nice to be inspired by other people and maybe there is something that would work, but I think me learning to look more inward and like deal with that gut feeling, right? Like what might work for me. And I'm still on this spiritual journey trying to figure out what that means to me and like what my daily practices are or what they'll be. But it has been like, oh, let me try this, let me try this, let me try this. And honestly, for like the last 8 years now. And I don't know what that says about me, but I haven't found the thing yet.
And really that, so the last thing that I wanted to say was the will center. Your will center is undefined. And, you know, most of the planets have their will center undefined. I have my will center defined. And so we tend to think of will center or willpower, right? Like I don't have the willpower to finish anything or like or commit to anything. But really it's what is true for you, because if it was something that you just jumped on and it wasn't true for you, you're not going to have the energy for it, right? And so it's
Mm-hmm.
really getting
Mm-hmm.
super clear with your sacral. Do I have the energy? Do I have the interest? Does this light my soul up? It's either a hell yes or it's a hell no. Like no
Mm-hmm.
half-assing in life, because that half-assing is really going to burn you out.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Thank you for the reading and the advice. I'm definitely going to take it. I appreciate it.
Well, this is an odd podcast. We don't generally I don't generally do reading, but it was a lot of fun to
Yeah.
introduce like a complete newbie to human design.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you really enjoyed that and you got something from that. But you also have something for our viewers to today. Your offer is: do you have roadblocks? Are you trying to overcome? Do you have goals you're trying to achieve? Megan is helping clients take actions to live the life they've always dreamed of. Visit www.meganstier.com to book your free discovery with Megan today. So I'm going to leave that in the show notes so
Okay.
people can connect to you on YouTube and however it is that this is shared. Do you have
Yeah.
anything else that you want to share before we go?
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. And there is, if they want to visit that website, there is a lot more of about my story and about the practice and what I can offer as a life coach. So if they want to visit there and get more information, like you said, they can sign up for a free discovery call, just see if we're a good fit for one another before signing up for a coaching program. And then you can also follow me. I do have a life coaching Instagram. It's at Meg, the life coach. So MEG, the life coach. And, I just post some inspirational things on there. It's very outdoorsy since I love traveling and being outdoors. And I do feel that it's the most healing space you can possibly be in. So yeah, if they want to follow along there too, that's where I'll be sharing some things.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. And I can't wait to follow you more for your travels. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Tammy. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
So, did you download your human design chart and wonder, what does this all mean? I get it. It can be super confusing when you first download your human design chart. That's why we created a short mini course called How to Read Your Human Design Chart. This is going to walk you through the basics of your human design chart, which is going to get you excited to learn even more about yourself through this beautiful system. So click the link below if you're interested in learning how to read a human design chart.